Commissioner Barron,
Here.
Commissioner Brittingham,
Here.
Commissioner Keith,
Here.
Vice Chair Van Heine,
Here.
and Commissioner Chair Kunda has advised me that he will be out sick today. So could I get a motion and a vote to excuse his absence for tonight?
Move to excuse.
Second.
Aye.
All those in favor?
All in favor?
All in favor? Say
Aye.
aye.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, so staff, we have Kelly Lucia, our planning director, Celine Sevilla, our associate planner, Stephanie Cow, assistant city attorney, and Yesa Benson, the commission secretary. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now it's time for public comments on non-agenda items. Anyone wishing to address the commission on any item can do so now. All right, so with that, I will move to approval of the minutes. Move to approve the minutes of May 13th of the regular planning commission meeting. And make a recommendation that the planning commission approve the action minutes of May 13th for the regular planning commission meeting as presented.
I'll make the recommendation that the Planning Commission approve the action minutes of May 13, 2024, the regular Planning Commission meeting as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we'll go ahead and open the public hearing.
Can you hear me? Good evening, Vice Chair, members of the Commission, public. Thank you for being here tonight. So tonight for item number 2, we have a public hearing for Development Plan Review 23-04, which is a expansion for Calimesa Veterinary Clinic located at 980 Calimesa Boulevard. The project site is located at the western corner of Avenue K and Calimesa Boulevard in the city's downtown village commercial zoning designation. And the applicant is requesting approval to construct a 1,136 square foot addition to the existing building that we have presented for you up here on the screen. Here we have the existing surrounding land uses. As you can see, many of them are commercial uses within the same zoning designation of downtown village commercial. So to the north, we have the Calimesa Public Library. To the south, we have security storage. To the east, we have Calimesa Insurance with some residential uses. And to the west, we have a residence. So a little bit of background. The project site is approximately 0.80 acres and mostly developed. However, the veterinary office has occupied this structure since 1998 after being converted from a preschool with approval from the city of Calimesa and is now looking to expand as their business grows. Unfortunately, I don't have the floor plan up on the screen, but if you all can refer to attachment A, you can see that the floor plan mainly consists of additional exam rooms and a waiting area. Because the lot is located in the city's downtown business district, we do have distinct development standards for this area. Therefore, the applicant will be required to make improvements to the site that will include facade improvements to the building, a new trash enclosure location, a new bike rack, and additional landscape furnishings to align with the city's commercial architecture design guidelines. So you can see all that here. So the proposed 1,134 square foot addition will bring the total building square footage to 2,494 with an existing storage of 942. That will bring the total lot coverage to 3,722 square feet, which is about 10% of building coverage. The rest is comprised of landscape and impervious area. So for the elevations, the applicant has chosen to stay within the Calimesa Ranch design style, and staff has reviewed and approved these elevations. As for the environmental, staff has determined that pursuant to SECO guidelines, the proposed project will not have potential impacts on the environment and is found to be categorically exempt pursuant to Section 15301, Class 1 existing facilities. That concludes my presentation. With that, staff would like to make the recommendation that the Planning Commission adopt PC Resolution 2024-12, approving Development Plan Review 23-04, subject to the conditions of approval, and also find the project to be categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines pursuant to Section 15301, existing facilities. As always, I am available if you have any questions. We also have 2 reps from the applicant side to answer any questions the commission may have. We have Ignacio and David Lopez. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you guys like to make a presentation?
Good afternoon, staff. Good afternoon, staff and commissioners. My name is David Lopez. Here we bring this project here for the owner. The reason for the expansion is to facilitate the customers that come in and have a better waiting area and provide a better service overall. As you know, this place has been here already for a while, and at this point, we want to also improve the functionality of the business and at the same time make it efficient for our clientele. We're available for any questions. Here's a contractor if you have any questions additional on this project, and we will be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any public testimony?
I've received none.
Thank you. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and move to commission discussion. You want to go?
I was just curious, are we going to extend the hours of the business at all with the expansion?
I believe that might be the plan in the future.
Okay. I just know we're in need in the general area, especially for after-hours services. Very hard, so got to expand. If not yourself, you might want to sublease it out to somebody else and have them work nights. Definitely could use you.
Definitely a need for an understanding organization, so that we're already taking in the overflow from all this down the hospital, which is our training building.
Yeah, it's a mess.
So you guys drive by there and see the stuff. So, yeah, the plan is for hours after the.
Great, thank you. That's all I had.
Number of employees?
Currently, we are at 20.
And how about you?
Well, I just had a question on the extra parking. I know there's no room in the existing parking lot as we have right now, but I'm assuming that maybe you're going to have some of the overflow parking back there where the employees park?
That is correct. Right now, for functionality of the parking lot against with landscape and all the improvements, the overflow would definitely go to the back. A lot of it's like stop in, drop off, and take off, so not a lot of long-term parking at this point.
Right.
So, but yeah, you're correct, eventually.
Yeah, I'm very glad to see you guys expanding and not leaving. So, thank you.
Thank you.
What's replacing the fence along the back property line? It says that the existing chain link fence is going to be removed. What is going to be replacing it?
That is correct. In the event that the fence line is removed, it'll be dressed up with decorative block, whether it be a slump or split face type of material. At this point, it's open for the final decision as far as what will be chosen.
And then the existing chain link fence that you have over by the trash enclosure, when you remove the trash enclosure, that fencing is going to be removed, and then you guys are going back with the block wall. Is there going to be access from the block wall into the back area at all, or?
So where the trash enclosure, if you're looking west, is that what you're
Correct.
referring to? Yes. It's going to be open with just a curb, and then obviously have access eventually to the back for whatever expansion in the future.
Do you guys ever have any pets stay overnight at your facility?
Yes.
You do? Okay. Okay, that's all.
Thank you.
So,
Vice Chair, may I make just one suggestion? Since we did have a brief Q&A session, maybe we can reopen and close that public hearing portion one more time.
okay, so I'll go ahead and reopen the public portion of it and then go ahead and close it.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, so with that, we'll go ahead and make a motion and vote.
Take them individually or one at a time?
Do individually?
It's really up to the commission's discretion and whoever's making the motion. It might be more efficient to make the motions together, but it is up to whoever's making that motion to do it together or do it one at a time.
Okay. I'll make the recommendation that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution 2024-12 approving the Development Plan Review 2304 for a proposed 1,034 square foot addition to an existing commercial office building for Calimesa Veterinary Clinic. And 2, find that the project to be categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines pursuant to Section 15301A, existing facilities.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Okay.
There you go.
A smile on their faces.
All right, moving on to item number 3, the zone text amendment. Go ahead and move to open public hearing for that.
Okay, good evening, Vice Chair, Commission, members of the public that may be viewing online. Agenda item number 3 is for Zone Text Amendment 24-01. This is a proposal to modify the Calimesa Municipal Code's provisions related to public hearing notification. So this item was requested by Commissioner Brittingham a few meetings ago, so this is brought forward at the Commission's request. And as presented in your staff report, Calimesa Municipal Code currently requires that all property owners within 300 feet of a proposal that requires a public hearing be notified. In past public hearings, we have also had instances whereby there have been conflicts of interest for certain commission or council members, and those provisions can extend from 500 up to 1,000 feet in some circumstances. And so I think what Commissioner Brittingham was inquiring about is whether or not the city could modify our municipal code to align the public hearing notification requirements with the conflict of interest regulations. And so that information is presented here in your staff report. I do want to note that state law requires 300 feet, and so it's not required that the city make any modifications to this request, to this provision in the code. However, I also wanted to provide, just for reference, as found in your staff report, some reference for how the cities around us handle public hearing notifications. And so for the city of Banning, they also require 300 feet. However, their city council has directed their staff to prepare an ordinance to amend various procedures of their code. So among those amendments for consideration include increasing the notification radius to 600 feet and also posting a notice of public hearing sign on the project site. So we don't currently require that. It's not part of our practices in Calimesa, but you may see in other jurisdictions kind of large signs posted on the property whenever maybe an alcohol permit's being requested or some other discretionary action, just to notify people that may be driving by, hey, there's a public hearing going to happen related to this property. And so that's something Banning is considering. The city of Beaumont also complies with 300-foot notice, as does the city of Redlands. And the city of Yucaipa is interesting. They have kind of a graduated system where it depends on the number of acreage that the project consists of. So for projects 20 acres or less, they stick to the 300-foot notification. For projects between 21 and 160 acres, that increases to 700 feet. And again, in UKIPA, any project that is larger than 160 acres requires notification of all the way out to 1,300 feet. Also, this morning I received a request from Vice Chair Van Heining regarding some examples, and so you'll see in front of the commission and also available for the public, there are some example graphics here before you that we can just briefly touch on, just to give you a sense of what these notification distances look like on a map and also what the mailing cost would look like. So the commission may remember the Reedman map over on Desert Lawn Drive. I just picked this subdivision to use as an example. And so what you see on the screen here is a visual representation of what a 300-foot radius would look like. And so anything that's outlined in blue is captured within that 300 feet. The number of owners that would be notified under this 300-foot scenario is 78, and the mailing cost would be a little under $50. So we're looking at 64 cents per envelope for public hearing notices. Okay, so the next slide is going to show the same property only at 600 feet, so you can see there's additional blue. The number of owners notified under this scenario, would be 107, and the approximate mailing cost would go up to about $70.
Just a quick question, I'm sorry.
Sure.
If the shading is blue, I see the outline, but how come some is shaded and some is not within the outline?
So for the property kind of south of the screen, that is Plantation on the Lakes, and they don't have individual lots. That's one assessor parcel number. And so that may be what you're seeing, is that there's only an outline because it's one kind of giant parcel with a bunch of mobile homes on it. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure does.
Great. So that's 600 feet. And then the next is going to be 1,000. So under this scenario, the number of owners notified would be 218, and the approximate mailing cost would be about $140. I think something that may be relevant for the commission as you discuss is that whenever there's development applications, it is the developer that bears the cost of paying for the notifications. And so the city sends out the mailings, but then we ultimately will reduce their developer deposit accordingly. So there are not many scenarios in which the city is bearing the cost of public hearing notices. It's usually the developer that foots that bill. So with that, I would like to open it up for commission discussion. Because this was a commission-driven request, there is not a recommended distance. This is really kind of up for the commission's discussion. And at the end of the hearing, I will relay the information and the recommendation over to the City Council for their consideration on whether or not they'd like to make any revisions to our municipal code. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Okay, Mike, you want to go first?
Sure. I mainly brought this up because having to recuse myself from a project, I was just curious at what we did for distance. And for public figures, we were up to 1,000 feet off of the project. So my biggest concern was, how do I tell my neighbor who didn't get a notification, why am I more important? Or if it's financially going to affect me, then it's darn well going to financially affect them. Why isn't he being notified? So that's what kind of got me on that, and that's how I'm looking at it. And it is surprising that the cities follow, the state guidelines as far as only 300 feet as far as notification. So you can go from any part of that property line to get that 300 feet, but especially some of our other developments, you get a lot more than just visually affecting that property. You're going to have traffic and other stuff that's going to influence, and so I think that we should be proactive and increase it. Now, what to increase that by, I'm all open for suggestions or whatever. I kind of liked how Banning went to 600 feet at least, and also with the sign posting. Maybe we need to have a little sign posting, that way the drive-by traffic that picks up. 1,000 feet, you know, if you're saying I'm gonna be profiting off of it, then I'm almost want my neighbor at 980 feet to get that same notice too, just so it never comes back to bite us. So I think ultimately the perfect way to do it would be whatever we're recusing ourselves at for whatever distance deemed by the lawyers to be efficient. I think that's what we should be doing our public notifications. However, if we see fit to go at a lesser model, I also can be applied to that too. I just think that 300 feet is woefully inadequate. So that's where I'm at. Thank you.
I would suggest the 600, I don't know, just to cover more bases that way. That's my opinion.
Well, I always wanted a higher number for anyway for notifications myself, but you know, like Mike just said, it's a double-edged sword. We have projects where I live, we're all surrounded by certain projects, and you know, 600, I like the 600 because it's a little better, but that definitely puts me in a position later on down the road coming up. So it's like half one, half a dozen of the other, but I like 600 foot too.
Okay. Yeah, I like increasing it to like 500 or 600, and I also liked how the posting a sign on the side as well. I think that that's really good. And then I did like the tier effect that you kind of did, where it was, you know, like maybe like 1 to 50 acres do a 500 or 600, and then anything over 50 acres go to 1,000, and then post the sign. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, the only thing that scared me about that is a 50-acre project's a mighty big project, and if you got one 50-acre lot, chances are he's going to be surrounded by other multiple acre lots, so that 1,000 feet's pretty piddlets, because you're still only get 4 or 5 property owners directly surrounding. You're not going to go beyond that reton. So Ukaipa, the way they did it for the North Bench specifically is what they did that for.
Yeah, it was targeted.
And they've had nothing but problems on that. Luckily, we don't have to worry about that. I don't think we have that many large distance on the projects, but yeah.
Would there be a circumstance where it would be beneficial for our city and what we have to do a tiered thing where it's 500 or 600 versus 1,000?
Personally, I don't see it because most of the land is still, there's really nothing in large acreage lots that's available for building on right now because everything's already owned. So we have our projects on the west side of the freeway and stuff, but they're already guaranteed what they came in and got approved at years ago. I would say the same thing with Purses Ranch would be the same way. You know, there's still 475 homes up there that are waiting to be built sometime. And I don't really see this affecting, other than notifying people that already live up in that area. You know, 600 feet, you got Oak Hills, parts of Calimesa, which only goes over 300 feet, basically, from Purses Ranch to the county line. You know, we don't notice across county lines, do we? Right?
We do.
Oh, we do?
Yeah,
Oh. Well, how come Ukaipa doesn't do that for us?
no comment.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, so you guys think like 600 feet is good, and then what do you think about the sign?
I'm all for having a sign posted there too, like staff said they do it for alcohol and tobacco or whatever else. It's just one more heads up for somebody driving by that at least, I mean, that's the whole thing is we want to notify as much as the public as possible, but preferably get their input before we do a project instead of afterwards and have them come scream at us. So.
Yeah, the ABC license, they always have the sign out there long before the building's even put up, so we always see that, but a sign saying what kind of project's coming up wouldn't be bad.
I appreciate Mr. Brittingham bringing it to the attention, you know, to the forefront.
Yeah, it seems like it's important to everybody, so, yeah.
Okay. So let's just bump it up to 600 feet of notification then for everybody and put a sign out in front, see how that works.
And Madam Vice Chair, apologies if I inadvertently missed it, but I wasn't sure if you had opened it up to public testimony or to see if there was any public comment on this matter.
I did not.
So let's make sure we do that before we...
Okay. Even
continue
if
on.
there's no one, even if there's like no one here at all?
Just in case there's written public comment, we want to make sure we have the full record before we vote.
I'd like to open it for public comment. Is there any public testimony sent in?
We've received none. We received 2 earlier email public comment submissions that served as advisory and notice to staff.
Thank you. Okay, with that, I'd like to close public comments. Thank you. And so I guess now, do we go ahead and make a recommendation to the city council to adopt the ordinance?
Yes, I would recommend that you, if you so choose, make the recommendation listed in the staff report. Staff will then go in and edit the draft Planning Commission resolution to reflect what the commission has determined here today. And that's what would be presented to the city council.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and make a recommendation to adopt PC Resolution 2024-13, recommending that City Council adopt an ordinance to increase the distance of required public hearing notification radius to 600 feet with posting a sign.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right. Now we can move on to commissioners' reports and comments. Let's go ahead and start with you.
I have none.
Okay. John?
I'd like to thank staff. I'd like to follow up by Director Lucia on the problem that I had with the shopping center, the striping of the road. I'd like to add another comment, if I may. I've lived here 20 years, attended an awful lot of meetings over those years. And I think right now, we've probably got the best commissions, groups, representatives for the city. And it's really comforting. And I even appreciated Celeste's thing on the budget. I mean, it's commendable, so.
Thank you.
I second that.
Definitely.
Definitely second that. Yeah, for me, as I was hoping Mike was going to be here too, you know, our city engineer, because now that school's gone and school's out, would be a great time because you don't have to fight the traffic to get our street just striped. And I'll put it out there, if he doesn't do it, I'm going to in front of my house because that's technically my land. I don't have curb, gutter, and sidewalk in front of my house, so it's the center of the street, which people don't understand where the center of the street is. So that's it. Other than that, thanks, staff.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, staff. Kelly, thank you for preparing this for us. We really appreciate it, or I appreciate it. Helps with the visual. Thank you. Yeah. And yeah, summer's out, so watch out for all the kids riding around on their bikes and everything.
Motorcycles.
Motorcycles, yep. Okay, and planning director reports and comments.
Thank you, Commission. I just have one brief comment, and that's that today, June 10th, marks the end of the comment period for the notice of preparation for the Mesa Verde specific plan amendment. We did receive a number of comments, and so those are being forwarded on to the applicant team for consideration as they begin drafting the draft subsequent EIR. Please keep an eye on the planning department's landing site on the website and also the Calimesa News Mirror for any notices of public hearing that may be occurring in the future regarding that project. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to adjourn to our regular planning commission on Monday, July 10th, 2024 at 6 p.m. here at the Norton Youngblood Multipurpose Senior Center.
Thank you, Vice Chair.